Welcome back to HSE AMA. I'm your host, Juliana Chinsky, and today we've got a round three of Justin Michael, the CRO of HSE and executive coach AMA session. Hey, Justin, how are you doing?
Life is good. I mean, there's been so many questions. There hasn't been time.
Yep, let's just jump into it and let's make a difference today since we have 40 questions. Let's try to hit them all.
All
I'll be
right.
asking them fast and just try to be concise. Please. Let's do
I'll
it.
try. I'll try. Let's go.
What's the best way to build a list for cold calling?
Yeah, so I would say creating a list that is intent data based and that leverages multiple data systems. So in the US, Zoom Info plus Lead IQ, Zoom Info plus Cloud Lead, and a VA, and having a virtual assistant team clean the data. And yeah, I'd go with that.
How do you get past the gatekeeper when you don't have the mobile phone of the target?
Yeah, so the gatekeeper issue, I treat gatekeepers like gold and I try to sell to the gatekeeper. And then sometimes the gatekeeper has a secret email address and they can coordinate a board meeting. But if you use a response like, hey, you're probably not going to put me through, what would it really take to get put through? Sometimes they'll help you.
What's your approach to public sector ed tech in long cycles?
Public sector ed tech. Well, people try to push verticals on me and say, what's the approach? It's the same human brain. So it's the same neuroscience. And I've had people say, well, the JMM won't work for this vertical or that, but it will, because it's the same, brush off of a stranger. It's the same, fear. It's the same elements of the brain, the old brain and the new brain. And so I think it'll work fantastically well. I mean, your domain expertise is critical, but for the opening phase of a cold call, you really want them to open up and speak with you. You want to create a conversation so you have something to tailor to when you pitch.
Best resources for overcoming imposter syndrome, finding your unique offer.
Yeah, I mean, I think self-belief is really important. You have to develop an unshakable belief. One way is to get testimonials and to drive a lot of value, and then remind yourself how you're helping people and to look at those results. The other is really just shifting your subconscious mind through your identity. And so I talk about that with things like music and visualization and affirmations. And there's a lot of ways. I haven't been hypnotized personally, but it does work. Maybe a side hustle.
How do you stimulate curiosity? The question is from Mike Bosworth.
Yeah, I'm honored. My whole thing has always been you have to create desire in the prospect. So the old adage, I think it was Jay Abraham, is if you're the most interested, you'll become interesting. And so what I'm trying to do with my cold call framework is get them to talk and let them speak first with open questions, kind of peel the onion until the polarity flips. And then they become interesting. They become interested in you because it's really hard just interrupt people and try to talk, be impressive. So it's a trick question, I think.
How to create an amazing offer.
Well, Hormozy has a good book for offers, $100 million offers that has a really good B2C motion. But I think it's really understanding a compelling business case and why your customer buys and what value means to them. What I've always thought, if they spend 100 grand, when do they make the 100 grand back? When do they make 300 grand? Where is the point of 3x return? So they feel really good about having invested in your product or service. A lot of the offer creation gimmicks are kind of reducing friction and making a guarantee and overpromising, and that works well for transactional, but I don't think it works for strategic sales.
How can a complete amateur make it in sales outreach?
Buy my books, do what they say. No, I don't know. Being an amateur, if you have a beginner's mind, like it's like a sport. If you learn your tennis swings from Go the right way, you might have an edge. Like I had a two-handed backhand, like Andre Agassi, wasn't that good. But I tried to teach myself the one-hander with the topspin, and I started hitting the ball over the back of the net. So there's actually an advantage to being new to something as long as you can see it that way.
If you were starting from scratch, what would be the top three for your tech stack?
Well, I think obviously Sales Navigator which is like a self-healing CRM. Um, you need a way to automate calls and automate emails, so sales engagement platform and a parallel assisted dialer, but it's pretty hard to get anywhere if your data is bad. So that takes us back to the data questions. You'd almost be better off with a data platform, some type of dialer, and something to personalize and automate emails.
What is the best way to reach out to women in business without making them feel unsafe?
Uh, Manners and respect. I used to rush into my dad's office as a kid and start talking to him, and he would go like this, and I'd come in again and I'd knock and I'd be like, "Hey, Dad." So he was always beating that into me. But yeah, in this day and age, an ounce of decorum or manners is very powerful
What is your favorite question to ask a prospect that they have never heard before?
that they've never heard before. Well, it's usually finding something on their profile that a machine wouldn't see. For example, there's a manager who I'm kind of making famous at HubSpot Australia. And it turns out he's from Ireland and he was a champion rabbit breeder. So I asked him if I said, how's rabbit breeding as the opening subject line, would I get a meeting? He said 100%. And no one on his team knew about the rabbit breeding. So the answer is it depends. Find something that a machine wouldn't find. Deep in a podcast, in the skill tags, something unique, and they'll see the level of effort.
Justin, what has worked for you to get past gatekeepers, persistence, hopefully getting the DM on the phone, urgency, desk thinks you're important, humor, gambling your ego for routing? What has worked for you to get routed?
Well, you kind of call up like you own the place, and that's been working since the 80s. I mean, you just say the person's name. So you just say Julian Imchinsky, and they'll say 1 second. But I would wear out the switchboard operators. They'd be like, I've seen your 917. You can't keep calling like this. And then I used to call e-commerce companies. So I'd call Target in Minnesota all the time, and all the operators knew me. And they switched off the switchboards. You had to have direct lines. But there's two strategies really. You slow down and try to sell to the gatekeeper because they own the C-level's time, the decision maker's time, or you just, say the name and act like you're supposed to be talking to them and get transferred. It's fine to get a message machine too and just make it count. Leave voicemails.
Justin, almost 15 minutes. We have like 20 questions. Let's try to address them all. What's the best way to start a revenue consulting business while still learning?
Yeah, so I think the best thing you can do is the first circle. So start working with friends, people who your first degree connected to in your cell phone, and provide the work at a low fee, even for free, in return for a testimonial, and just start building up that bank of testimonials. As you coach and consult and advise, you'll get more confident, and then you can productize that, and you'll have these referenceable initial clients, and you can parlay that into leverage to charge higher fees when you go out on your own. So it's a double whammy.
How to increase Coke call conversion and email reply rate?
Is that like a Charlie Sheen thing in Hollywood? It's a softball answer. Move to Hollywood. How do you increase cold call conversion? The list is the strategy. I've heard this sentence come from Jerry Hill, Ryan Reiser, Joey Gilkey. Basically, just spend more time sharpening the axe, getting a better list. It's not just cell phones. Right now, Connect and Sell tested 10 million numbers, and 50% of the meetings were fully navigated. So honestly, switchboards, dial by name directories, IVR are your friends. Get to the voicemail and leave 4 or 5 voicemails.
How can these skills be best utilized by value-added reseller with a wide portfolio of partners and products?
Yeah, so I've actually sold sales technology to a Fortune 500 VAR before. You could probably guess it's in Arizona, somewhere. I mean, again, any channel strategy it's going to be the same channels, right? You're still going to have cold email, social selling components. You're still going to have email sequencing. So it's still going to be about finding message market fit, really putting yourself in the shoes of the prospect and finding the relevance that can be scaled. I'm not a big fan of personalization down to the person. If it's an indirect or channel motion, you just have to map that out as a process before you automate it.
Top three things to learn about email sequences and automation as new as they are.
The first huge pattern interrupt is the frequency, like how the messages when they send is more important than what's in the messages. So the Agoge sequence is popular day 1, 3, 5, 9, 11. It's better to use clusters, which is in my work, which is day 1, 2, 3, rapid successions of omni-channel touches. Because even if you have B minus messaging, if the timing is interesting and you're across channels, it will be more effective than A plus personalization, looking like you were put on a spam thread, like you were illegally put on a mailing list.
What kind of outreach would you suggest a solopreneur who has no sales team would start with using the JMM?
I think read the fourth frame chapter in part 2 of Sales Superpowers because I go really deep into using social selling as a chat flow and as a direct message or DM framework. And it's like a dance, it's a back and forth. Learning how to constructively chat with people as if it's a cold call to kind of understand their pain, their latent pain, their problems, and also build trust in relationships digitally through texting and then pulling that to Zoom. That's where I would spend time as a founder because it maintains your power frame. If you can like laterally access people over LinkedIn, sometimes it's stronger than cold calling them. I would still cold call, but lower in the funnel once there's some interaction over social.
Best methods to start integrating AI and prospecting.
I love Grammarly Go. I know it's basic, it's not clay.com, but you don't have to spend hours in a spreadsheet or there's no learning curve. You just really focus on its spitting back tone, empathy, compassion. Like it has different tonalities, brevity, and you can do a lot to kind of carve the angel from the marble. So I like that one. Um, Check out things like obviously Lavender, Reggie, Autobound, Writer, Jasper. These are really cool GTM tools for doing messaging at scale, but I still don't think it can beat just getting great at writing. Like read the Stephen King book on writing and read my chapter on copywriting um, for B2B because I've retrained copywriters. Like traditional copywriting won't work for B2B email.
Which tactics beyond addressing the buying committee early do you use to accelerate sales cycles?
Yeah, so I practice the art of confusion and the waterfall effect. So I go in top down, middle out, bottom up. I know it sounds like Silicon Valley middle out algorithm, but sending Venn diagrams to 5 different people around the target, confusing them. There was a diagram that went, there's a company with 800 million run rate. SDR gets the codexes, should be codices, whatever. He gets it. He builds a Venn diagram. It's opened 60 opportunities with Fortune 500s. It looks like a crop circle, like a UFO. Why does it work? Because you look at it and it sucks you in like a Led Zeppelin box set. So pattern interrupts, purple cow. That's what I would say.
How do you engage via email to have prospects respond to your CDA?
Well, the first problem is your CTA asks for 15 or 30 minutes of your time. You shouldn't do that. The Gong research shows that soft CTAs or interest-based CTAs perform better. So is this relevant? Should we discuss things that spark a conversation on the email? So you don't even need a sign off like thanks, Justin, or talk soon. You can literally start chopping emails up so they don't even have a salutation or a sign off. Start breaking up traditional grammar in emails. And if you're going to do a CTA, make it about the topic or the relevance, not about trying to get a meeting with them. If you want to use time, say, could I get 12 minutes of your time? The famous story is I got a response, yeah, I'll give you 11 minutes. And I said, fine, I'll bring my stopwatch.
How do you balance letting them do most of the talking, trying to get their problems out, to customize what I say, showing I understand the problems and being seen as authoritative in the area without talking about myself, past experience too much?
So if they're trying to make you talk on a call and you just met them, they're testing you to get rid of you. Human beings love to talk about themselves and love to share about their company. So if you ask open questions with the intent of curiosity, they'll sing like a canary and they will talk. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And sales managers say, Justin, this is wasteful. I can't have my people having 20-minute conversations with prospects. If they're CMOs, yes, you can. Call people that matter, get them to talk, and just be curious. You'll know what to say. Keep them talking, keep the spotlight on them. Lots of work in the codexes in all my books about how to do that. But it's a mindset shift toward actually caring and being curious and being fully there with the human in front of you.
How do you get to real pain quick? For example, the pain attached to the bigger number.
Right, because prospects lie to brush you off, and there's no more pain. Pain is gone. The thrill is gone. The pain is gone. So you say, well, most fintechs that I talk to have this challenge, that challenge, and this. And they go, no, meh, no, because they're protective, right? They love to buy, they hate to be sold. So you get to pain through pleasure. What tech stack are you using? What do you like about it? Oh, you're using Salesforce. That's great. How's it working out for you? So it's the ruin aspect of route, ruin, multiply. The reverse psychology is to do the things that sellers wouldn't do. Sellers will probe for pain, so I won't ask about pleasure. Sellers will ask for time. I won't. I'll hang back. It's an Earl Nightingale or a Sandler. Do the opposite of what they expect, and you'll start to see really dramatic results because it's a subconscious pattern interrupt for them.
How to scale prospecting when tied to a one at a time system.
Use the account-based sales development spreadsheet, the ABSD, credit Lars Nilsson. I built this spreadsheet to stack rank. It's just a big manila pad. It's a big list, but you have to make lists and re-rank the lists. That's the only way you can do it.
How do I maintain momentum on a deal once proposals have been submitted?
So there's a half-life of enthusiasm. There's a decay rate. So the minute they figure out that the pain of same is greater than the pain of change, you're above the waterline, and then the deal decays. It goes to die. I had a sales manager, and there's this guy named Joe on our team, and he used to call him where deals go to die. And I don't think that's appropriate in this era. But the point is that if you don't follow up, you're missing like 80% of the deal flow per the 80/20 rule. So you have to nurture. And what I propose is the Mike Weinberg theory of thirds, like 33% of your time work the top funnel, 33% mid funnel, and then 33% bottom funnel. Prospect against your funnel. So if you've got great deals in the pipe, nurture them, send a video, send an article, but curate the nurturing. Don't just send them, say, here's what's interesting in this article. I read this white paper. This would be interesting. Like show them that you process the information, you're tailoring it to what you think they'll get out of it.
What's the thought process behind crafting an email opening line?
So I use the journalism approach. It's probably the last class I took in high school when I was like 15 in 1995 before I stopped formal schooling. The purpose of the subject line is to get the first sentence. The purpose of the first sentence to get the second sentence. So you got to think with a journalistic approach. And then Todd Caponi always says, it's a trick question. What's the purpose of any step in a sales cycle? The next step. So, right, you're going to earn the right to get to the next sentence. So you got to be compelling, and you get 18 words between the subject line and the preview text, and that needs to be like an ad unit. And you're going to think of it as a button that they click. It has to provoke.
Tips to build personalized emails.
So when you're doing personalization, you're better off looking at it like advertising, like segmentation and targeting. You're better off taking 1,000 people and saying these are the 3 to 5 main groups, writing a sequence per each, and customizing on the persona and the vertical, not down to one person. And the new gimmicky AI personalization is like, oh, this is you're a hiker. Let's hike up the revenue mountain. P.S. I love that. I love Lou's Chinese food restaurant too. And like it's cheesy. So what you should do is take all the VPs of e-commerce, put them in a sequence, and write about use cases with VPs of e-commerce. I'll take one from Mike Bosworth's page, which is peer curiosity creates peer envy. So having customer hero stories that apply to the vertical and title, not down to one person, will be strong enough to create that social proof that get them interested with what their peers are doing. You can't talk today.
How do you prepare for cold outreach to executives?
Well, the idea that you have to do tons of research is actually not true. Pick 50 people to triple, spend like 3 by 3 research, but do it in 30 seconds. Scan their profile, look at their about section, open their jobs, look at what they did at their jobs, look at their college stuff, their recommendations, go through and look for that, champion rabbit breeder thing that sticks out. When you talk to senior executives, it's got to be outcomes and risk. And it's funny we got Mike Bosworth here, but I think in one of his books I read that executives have 7 slots and they're focused on something with a burning focus. So if you align with one of their priorities, you'll do better than just trying to find their favorite charity or bond with them somehow on a personal level.
5 minutes.
All right, let's go faster.
What should I never do during cold call?
Never guilt the prospect, never make them wrong, never remind them that you're soliciting. Never lower your status frame. Never ask for permission. Never open a call asking, can I get some 5 seconds of your time? Can I get 30 seconds? Is this a good time? Do you want to roll the dice? Never do those things. That's what waiters do. Executives don't ask permission. Maintain equal business stature. Maintain your frame of power in the moment. Um, do be humorous, but be tasteful. I think Seinfeld, not Chris Rock, even though I love both.
Should be the next corporate bro, Justin. Rhymes. I'm gonna
One
make this
day,
cut.
I'm start rapping.
How should I focus my effort to decrease time creating emails?
So it's actually really helpful to have a tool like Grammarly Go and let it spit out data, but you have to make sure to change those emails to put your personality and make it sound human and not synthetic.
Best way to get over sales nerves from in-person meetings.
When you start to realize that it's not about you and it's about them, and you become other oriented and you focused and kind of the go-giver mentality, read the book, you realize it's not about you in the meeting. Put all your attention on them. Get your attention off yourself. Focus on the questions you're going to ask. If you get cornered, ask a better question. I struggled with this for years. It was never about me. We're in the meeting, they're not even seeing me. They're thinking about, the risk of spending and they're wondering if it will help them, right? Help them help themselves.
Cold outreach in small markets. For example, there aren't a lot of targets simply interested in listening at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a narrow enough TAM, spend money, send FedEx envelopes, do contact marketing, do snail mail, show up in the parking lot with cupcakes, do something way out of the box, send a drone, send a shoe. No, read the Stu Heinecke and Dale Dupree stuff.
If you were someone looking for a job in today's market, what would be your outreach strategy?
Just cold call all the VPs of sales, like just as many times as you can, just telling them how many cold calls you're going to make until they like want to block your number. Just show them that you're going to call the most. That's what I did. And for interviews too, just sit there and be like, I want to make the most cold calls ever in this company. You'll be hired.
Show them you know them.
It's patented. We can't use it.
Get any experience in the logistics industry.
I mean, I've helped some logistics companies, but again, this is the whole vertical myth, If you can get some acumen, the problem is your emails are really long and boring and look like all the other logistics emails. So the purple cow standing out, differentiated value props, making the syntax of the email different. It's all in the codexes.
What is the best way to practice negotiation and handling objections?
You got to drill and rehearse with people. That's where hard skill exchange comes in. Get a coach, drill real world scenarios, set it, easy, medium, difficult, run through. I've got a list in Codex 14 of 40 top HubSpot objections. Learn them, but learn the framework, which is humor diffusion, acknowledging, agreement, comments versus objections, all that good stuff. Practice.
How to be a content creator on LinkedIn.
Wow. I mean, this gets way overinflated. The less you post on LinkedIn, the better the better you'll do, the higher your fee, right? Scarcity creates value, right? Exclusivity creates a premium. The more enigmatic, the higher your fee. The people who are loudest on LinkedIn get paid the least. Don't believe what you read.
Most important daily habit ritual.
It's just, I mean, I think like this goes out to Darren, but just using I am statements to reprogram your subconscious mind rather than sitting there like, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I can't do that, I shouldn't have done that, and just sitting there as this negativity machine at default state. You have to be like, I am capable, I can do this, I can call the CEO. Like, you have to just sit there and pummel your subconscious with the reality of what you can do, and you can do anything. You can do anything I do, and that's a scientific fact. So, reinforced affirmations is powerful.
Perfect timing. We're on top of the hour. Justin Michael, thank you so much for being the guest on today's show. And thank you for giving credit to all the people you mentioned. It's really rare in our industry.
I don't get much credit. I'm totally out of breath, but yeah, I've really honored to just, my greatest piece of wisdom is follow people like Mike Bosworth, Jim Holden, Jeff Tull, um, Mehan Khalsa, Tony Hughes. There's so many people that were world famous at a time and have incredible strategy. Same human brain. It works today. Implement that into the top funnel. You're going to win.
Oh, Justin Michael. And Justin Michael, who are you most excited to coach on HSC?
I've got this thing for side hustles. It's got to be half the people I talk to are looking for an additional income stream right now. They still want to crush their main role and make commissions, but they're waiting around. The pay plan's weird. I just saw a stat today, 27% of people are hitting quota. If you want to talk to me about ways to just monetize your gifts and talents right now, like why not make money in Q1? So that's a fun mission.
Thank you so much for attending. Again, thank you, Justin. And yeah, we'll be back next week as per usual, same time, same place. Book one-on-one coaching sessions with Justin. We have any discounts, Justin?
Yeah, so I normally charge an excruciating amount of money. For the first hour, I'll do my attorney rate, which is $500. And then I'm also offering a special right now that if you coach with me for 3 months, which is typically 30,000, I'll do it at half rate for 15,000. If you pay it up front for 12,000, I will work with you at that rate. So pretty damn good deal. 15x return. No guarantees. It's up to
Thank you
you.
so much. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.